Okay, take her away, Peter.
All right, so what do I tap to?
Tap to this next one.
Okay, that's fine.
Up and down.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, now we're trained. Yeah, you all know me, Peter Debay, KE7VSR, and I have to use the microphone so it records.
Oh,
But and the Zoom guys, and I've been a member of Army Mars, and those of you that have served Vietnam and further back in time may have used Mars. Back then, it was the military affiliated radio service, or a fancy way for the military to say Western Union for the soldiers away from home. Send a 50-word telegram to somebody. Nowadays, we're not affiliated anymore. We're the military auxiliary radio service. We're here to assist the federal government, DOD, FEMA, DHS, and a host of others, which we'll see a little bit later on. So try not to snore while you're sleeping through this. So it's pretty much the same thing as Aries or Races or Shares or CAP. They're all volunteer amateur radio operators doing something for higher levels of government. There we go, fine tuning. That's the basic.
Give it.
there you go.
Headquarters in Fort Huachuca, and that was their fancy idea. As I said, we support the DOD and FEMA and DHS. So you can see the list of government documents that they feel that we need to know about. And we're going, yeah, really doesn't matter. But this is what they came up with for a presentation. Now, training, we train as often as you possibly can to get on the radio. So they've got a calendar of events that go on. Some of you already know about crossband events, about battleships that are on the air. Mars does 4 exercises a year. Generally, they're a couple days. There's one that's the entire month, number 4. But it's when you can get on. It's not like a job where you have to be on all the time. We'll get around to some requirements in a bit, but you can see there's Noble Sky, which is an interesting little bit of exercise. They're using the amateurs as receive stations so that the military can practice getting help, because sometimes things in the military go south and you want to know what's in your local area to get food or water or a tow truck to get out of the mud. So they have this one exercise where the military is calling up Mars because we're amateurs and we can get on the amateur bands to get an answer, and they get back on the military bands to provide the answer. Countries divided up by FEMA regions. So we are in region 7. So Arizona, California, and Nevada.
I took like 9.
I think that was 9.
Sorry, 9. So there's their 3 main customers. But like all government agencies, a few bits of bureaucracy and they can make their requests transmitted down to us. Some of these people are no longer here. Paul English is still the boss, but Dave McGinnis has moved on. There's a new guy, and it's a big secret. They gave us his name, but not his email or his phone number, and we can't get a hold of him to pass on suggestions. The other remaining group are each of the directors for the state, region directors. All right, to join the group, 18 years of age, citizen, or a resident alien. Now, this is an old slide. There's some talk about resident alien qualifications, but they're not sharing that with the peons at the bottom. Your general class license or better, and your radio station is going to have to be modified for out of band because they don't use ham frequencies, but they're just above and below each of the ham bands. So, little bit of fun. All right, you got to follow voice procedure rules. Of course, hams invented them for the military, and the military uses them. Most of us, when you're listening, can find out that they're not really following the rules. But on the Army nets, you do. You have to participate 12 hours a quarter. 12 weeks, 9 hours. Once, one hour net, once a week, and you've met all the requirements. And you do have to participate in one of the 4 exercises. You need to have internet because you do get email every now and again, and they've started using a website called APAN, APAN. It's a DoD operated server that is a little more secure than all the other servers out there for Zoom and all that sort of stuff. So you get to log into that, and you can go to a host of other subcategories, but you go to the Region 9 one, and there'll be various bits of information that they don't want to announce over radio waves. So that's what they started doing. And they have a basic course that you do online. It's bone simple. The people that designed this course don't realize that you actually have to have a brain to get a ham license. It's like, all right. Now, there's all kinds of stuff that goes on within the Army Mars. They have the NIVIS, which is the normal communicate with all the people in Region 9, but they also have a national net. They have an international net. We have joint operations with the Canadian and Australian people. So there's lots of opportunities to do different things depending on what kind of antenna system and power that you have. They use a digital program, unlike the one net that says digital and they mean DMR, and you're going, yeah, but you're still pushing the microphone to talk. This is true digital, much like teletype, and it's encrypted. It's a simple program to install. It works very well. It follows the military standard. Thanks. And we also have, some regions don't, but we do here in Region 9, have ALE, Automatic Linking Establishment. So your radio scans through the list of frequencies for Region 9, and if I'm calling you up, then your radio stops and listens, and I go, hey, what's the new message for the day or the week or the month? And the message will go back and forth, get saved in a filing cabinet on your computer, and carry on. So ALE is a very interesting thing to be doing. And you do have to do, if you've been to Aries, they have FEMA courses you have to do. So does the military. They want the 1 and 200 courses. which are online and free.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's the chairman's message, and you're going, yeah, right. Some general someplace is writing a message as if we're all children, and it's usual political. They send it out, you have to have a copy of it for 1 second, and you can hit the delete key. It's no big deal. But the whole thing summarizes into trying to be trained, proficient at the skills you need to communicate, just in case we have a very bad day. They don't want to say the W word, but you know, we do know that there are earthquakes. We do know there are solar storms that tend to take out power grids. So that's the whole thing. That's their fancy diagram of who plays in the system. We're at the bottom where it says Army Mars region nets. We can communicate with the amateurs and the other Aries, Races, Saturn. We communicate when we have answers. We send it up to the Trans Global Net, and they have a different setup that goes up to the National Support Network, which they renamed. Typical government. But that's their fancy version of the net. They had another one they posted last year, but you can hardly understand what they're talking about trying to read the picture. So there's your propaganda message, you know. What do? We contact by voice. Hey, that's my first station that I used for Army Mars. So, you know, just a little Yaesu 857 on a power supply with a tuner. And that's my antenna farm leaning up against the patio doors in a condo. Now, I did have a loop antenna. I drilled holes through the wall and ran it around the perimeter of the condo. But with that, I was able to get on and participate and do all the things they wanted. That was probably 12, 13 years ago, something like that. So there's a summary of, you know, we all know how to talk voice, and the digital modes are strictly the 110 alpha. They don't do RTTY because they took it out of the program that they provide for you to communicate. So during the exercises, especially number 4, they want to be able to contact everybody everywhere. So the green dots represent the success, and they were able to get at least one station in every state. So if you're back east or out west, we got good coverage. If you're in the middle of the country, you've got a lot of work to do because you don't have any help. So we're down to questions.
Hey, Peter, about they don't do really go back. They don't do really. So what's the digital mode you're using?
That 188-110 alpha. It's a mil spec version.
Then tell us a little bit about the concept of modifying or having the radio modified if you're a Mars person to be able to get on the air. You know?
That depends on the radios. I mean, on the Yaesu, it's a question of cutting in one diode and you're operating out of band. So different radios, you'd have to figure out if it can be modified and how. I have a TS-120 and I'm told it won't operate out of band. So, yeah.
Electronic radios are modifiable software If you have Mars license, you notify, Telegrass and they send you something.
So to recap, Helicraft has Mars capable radios, but you do need to provide the federal license. They call that license an ATO, authorized to operate. And in Army Mars, it's good for 1 year unless you get revoked for whatever. The Air Force, which has a same program, is got a longer period of time. The old Army Mars, it was good until your license expired, and then you had to renew. So the Navy gave up their Mars program, but the Air Force Mars is the same as the Army Mars, slightly different program. It's still compatible. They got a different name for it. Any other questions?
You know approximately any idea how many Mars stations there are? I don't know, on the air, but.
That is a tough one. Somewhere around 700 to 800 Mars stations, Army, Air Force, across the country. Here in Nevada, there's only 2 of us in Army Mars and 7 in Air Force Mars in Nevada.
Up here, down
No,
south.
all over. So could really use the help.
Okay, one other question. So way back when, it seems like, I know Vietnam here, but it seems like there was a lot of phone patches, where phone patches pretty much went away, I think.
The Air Force Mars still does foam patches because the planes that are in the air can still link in. But that's the Air Force guys. The Army guys aren't doing foam patch anymore.
Why did the Navy drop out?
Ask the Navy. I have no idea. They didn't share that. But you got to realize, even the military, when they want frequencies, they have to pay for that band or that segment. So I imagine it was probably something to do with finances, and all the ships at sea already have a huge link through the military side. So you got, free Wi-Fi aboard ship. Who needs Mars at that point? So, but that's my best guess. Any other questions? And the last slide.
It's black.
No, it's not supposed to be black. Oh, come on.
Oh.
You got to fix this. There should be one more slide.
Yeah, we'll get to one more slide.
Should be the very last slide.
Okay, the last slide. Whoa.
What'd you say?
Well, I think your slide deck went away. Where is it? Okay, now let's go find your slide deck. Oh. Okay, just hang on one sec. We got to get to this last slide.
Just click on the D. There you go.
We're getting there. Wait,
Hit blank. All right, it didn't copy. But I'll tell you what it is. It's a picture of my station today. I've got the flex radio on the left and the Kenwood on the right with the linear. And I have 4 different antennas in the backyard, which is a little crowded. And you have to remember to turn one radio off before you turn the other one on. Because the backyard is only 20 feet to the back fence and 54 feet wide. Consists of an inverted L, Mosley Classic 33, an inverted V, and a vertical. One's a butternut, and the new one's a specially designed one that an engineer, a friend of mine, developed. And I'm in the process of getting it all tuned up. So eventually the butternut will make it to the swap meet. one of these seasons.
Okay, how do they get an email address? How do they get hold of you if they wanna?
All right, if you need more information or you would like to join the party, you can always email me. Peter Debay at AOL.com. Yeah, AOL. Had that since 1985. I'm too lazy to change it.
Okay, thank you so much, Peter, for that knowledgeable information. Let's give him a round of applause. Yay, Peter. Lot to learn about. Peter's a truck driver and he said he gets back for all the meetings for sure. And thank you so much for presenting. Very fascinating. Appreciate it, Peter. Okay, this completes the presentation for January 6, 2024.